So guys, today here on Wednesday, September 1, welcome to September. We are going to do some training here on how to use LinkedIn. So obviously we want to use LinkedIn, have our own profile because people do check us out on that, both professionally and both in a recruiting way, but also in a sales manner. You're going between first appointment, second appointment. They are checking you guys out on there, but also using this as a recruiting tool. And so Michael Casco and the great George Zimney are going to share a little piece with us right about now. So take some notes.
10, 9, it's 12 o'clock. Hey, everybody, Michael Casco here, and glad that you're on the LinkedIn webinar with us today. We've kind of done a series of these webinars now where I think the first one we did was RMS after the Growth Summit. Then we did a ZipRecruiter webinar so that people can get more familiar with Zip. And now we're here doing LinkedIn, and we've gotten the expert on the platform to join us each time. And Mr. Zimney is our resident expert here. So I'll introduce him in a second here, but some of the emails, that I've been sending out, and I appreciate you guys humoring me on some of those emails. I like to throw some of my personality into them. But one of them was about hiring versus recruiting, and I wanted you guys to think about that as we go through this platform and what this is all about. But over the last 4 to 5 years, we've had an increased focus in recruiting, obviously, and we've gathered sources, we've gathered Zip, we've gathered Indeed, RMS, we've acquired all these different sources, and we've gotten really good at abundant recruiting, right? We've always been good at, personal and field recruiting. That's been in our DNA since the very beginning, since Howard started the company. Just imagine what Howard would have done with a LinkedIn. I guess he did have LinkedIn. It was called a Rolodex back in the day, but that's in our DNA. But here's the deal, I think we can do an even better job of leveraging the technology and those resources that are out there. So we want to continue to have those conversations, but we're here today to learn, how to use LinkedIn as a platform to personal recruit. Doesn't take away from those conversations that you ought to be having every day in field recruiting or in happenstance recruiting or with the friends and family members necessarily. It's in addition to, okay? 12 of the top 16 new producing agents in 2019, guess what they were? They were personal recruits, okay? It's the fastest way to grow on the career track. We just launched that new recruiting bonus of $1,500, right? Once your recruit writes 10,000 in NAP in their first 13 weeks. So I know that we got your attention with that. And markets and regionals, you guys stand to make even more from that bonus. So the opportunity to grow your team, folks, grow your agency is now. Your opportunity is now. It's here. It's 2020. It's here. It started yesterday. As a matter of fact, it doesn't start after Christmas, doesn't start after the New Year, doesn't start after Bahamar. It started yesterday. So don't wait. You want to start those conversations, and don't let up on the recruiting momentum that we built towards the end of the year, that you built towards the end of the year. So want to introduce our guest, and before I do that, we'll be able to, George is going to save some time for Q&A at the end so that it can be pretty easy and seamless. What I'd like you to do is, if you have a question, type it into your question box. And then at the end, when it's time for Q&A, I will read the question to George, and we'll go back and forth that way. So we're not, muting, unmuting people, and people are talking over each other, all that. Okay. But without further ado, I want to introduce George, our guest on here, our resident expert. Check this out. So George Zimney and his agency, Zeal, they had the highest combined growth in the company this year when you combine NAP and when you combine submits together. Okay, he had more growth than any other agency in Family Heritage, up 70% in submits, up 61% in NAP. So they just absolutely rocked it out this year. He's got agents working every single week, and they're submitting good business at a good clip. He ended the year up in recruiting, and he already has the abundant recruiting mentality. So he added a few recruits to his year's total. But get this, he increased his agency per his average NAP per recruit. So it's more effective recruiting as well, and still recruiting in abundance. This is a person who helps his leaders recruit. He also recruits himself. He's had a recruiting machine to feed his leaders, over the last several years. But he is also always finding ways to grow, another part of his business by reaching out to people individually, people that he wants to partner with, people that he wants to personally bring in to the business. And doesn't always take, or it's not like it always takes, a week to get them. Sometimes it takes a while, but he would certainly tell you that it's worth it. So without further ado, George, appreciate you jumping on here, preparing for this, giving us your time, taking away time from building your business to help the others in Family Heritage build their business. So appreciate you, and turning it over to you. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. It's quite an introduction. And the only thing that's true about what Michael stated is the numbers, but I can't take credit for any of the numbers because I've got a great team of people and a great support company with Casco and that entire executive staff that stands behind us and continues to provide trainings like this to help us, all of us, become better and help the people we work with to become better. So Michael, I really appreciate your effort. You don't have to do this, but you do. And I know you care about us, and that's where it starts, and that's where it should start. So, so there's this topic for me is it's a very natural topic, but folks, it's kind of overwhelming because there's so much that kind of goes into this concept of recruiting and hiring. If I could change the title, I would have changed it to recruiting added to hiring, because like Michael said, I believe that there's conceptually a big difference between really intentionally seeking somebody out and recruiting them versus running somebody through a hiring process. And they kind of sometimes interchange, but, so I'm going to rephrase this: recruiting added to hiring, because we can't turn off anything that we've learned from our sister companies after we became a Globe company, or a Torchmark company, now Globe. We can't turn off RMS. We can't change, reduce the number of hiring interviews that we do, et cetera. The recruiting piece, really becoming intentional about bringing on great people in addition to your machine or your process you already have in place, is just going to help you get further faster, is really all it's going to do. So first off, I want to take a couple minutes and go through what kind of my definition of recruiting and hiring is, and the difference between the two. Just, I think it's important to see that perspective. To me, hiring is really running somebody through a sourcing process, through a standardized interview process, shaking a hand, and moving forward with them. It's almost like the law of averages, the abundance of like knocking on doors to get a sale. If you knock on 30, you get a sale a day. Whereas if you had 5 referrals and 3 of them were prominent business owners that knew the mayor's son who you just sold to, you wouldn't just go knock the door and walk in. You would have a strategy in place with intention and really some foresight as to what that conversation was going to look like. And you would seek out those 3 referrals versus just walking through it and, hey, I got to hit 30 today. Now, we do both because we know that the most successful do both. And it creates leverage and options, right? And the same thing I believe is present with recruiting. So recruiting is to me is where you are intentionally seeking out a specific skill set or set of characteristics, and you're ready, you're willing and ready and equipped to buckle down and go through a multi-step process to get that recruit. Kind of like, I hear of some sales reps in Houston that have gotten into unions, and they didn't just walk into a union and say, hey, we sell supplemental insurance. Are you interested? They walked in with a name, a group of names. Maybe they went after, there's a strategy involved and they were going to buckle down. It wasn't a matter of, am I going to get that union? It's just a matter of what are the steps that I need to go through to get that union as a customer. And the same thing pertains to, in my opinion, recruiting. So before any of this ever really starts, I want to go back about a year ago as Q1, or actually my planning phase going into Q1 of 2019, actually exactly a year ago. And something I had done, I had not done in 2016 through 2018 is I developed more systems of hiring and just thought, hey, if I create this machine that can operate with or without me, but still can operate even when I'm not present, then we'll be able to hit these big recruiting numbers and the business is going to continue to grow double digits year over year. And that could have happened, but it took a lot of my control over the people I was going to be able to acquire and the growth that I was going to be able to achieve.
Yeah, we can't hear that. I don't know if you guys can.
Me, myself, and I bring that person into the business and do whatever, exhaust all resources and energy to bring that person in, because I believe that they had that set of characteristics that could be a game changer for my company and obviously more importantly for their life. And so I went on a mission, and my mission, here's how I mapped it out. I put it on this big blackboard. And if you're in my office in Columbia, Missouri, I've got 2 big blackboards. I ordered them on Amazon. I'm not going to get into the technical of the blackboard, but it's a cork board. It's a fancy cork board, right? $50 cork board, basically. And on the right-hand side, I put this big star in it. It said POP, People of Promise. And I believed, I had to create some metrics for this, but if I could get 20 people in the pipeline, these potential people of promise, 20 people in the pipeline, I was going to be able to hire over the course of 2019. I was going to be able to hire 3 of them. And I believed if I hired 3 of them, one of them would be a superstar that I could change their life, or they could change their life, but I could introduce them to a life-changing opportunity. And in turn, they could change the face of my business. And that's actually come to fruition. So before we get into anything technical, the first thing is you have to be a man or woman on a mission. Like without the goal piece and why that goal is important, it doesn't matter how great LinkedIn is, because it's just like any other goal. And I'm probably preaching to the choir, but if I'm going to lose 10 pounds and I don't really know why, it's not a smart goal. And I'm not going to track it. 2 weeks into the new year, I quit working out. Oh, well, maybe next year. This is the same thing that applies here. So I want to give you some practical things that you can do. So this is a little book. It's actually a planning guide. It's called Living Your Best Year Ever. It's by Darren Hardy. And I've been working through this. I shared this with Ryan Drysdale today. And you may have your own system. Brendan Burchard has a great planning guide, whatever. But it really gets in depth into your business goals, your financial, physical, mental, spiritual, lifestyle, relationship, family, the why. It even goes into the past year, lessons you learned. And then it just helps you every single week to track those important goals and learn the lessons so you can improve going into the next week. So right here, actually on the flight to Dallas here, we have some meetings over the next couple of days. The flight to Dallas, I started on the actual mapping out of my goals. And one of my goals on the business piece was to find, acquire, and develop one new regional director that's unattached to anybody else, that I personally find, acquire, recruit, partner with, field train, develop, and then help grow an organization with that person so that they promote at some point in fiscal 2020, this new year, to regional director. So why is that important? I've got a number of reasons why that's going to help their life and change my business, right? But that's going to be my personal mission again. Very similar to what my personal mission was last year. Just I didn't identify it as a regional director. And that person may go on to become an agency owner someday. And I have no clue where that person is going to come from. But it starts with a mission. And every conversation, every social media post, every LinkedIn post, every time I spend an hour on whatever trying to find that person, it's crystal clear that that's my mission. So that's where this whole, in my opinion, thing of really intentionally acquiring high quality individuals that can change your business, that's where it all starts. So I'm skipping through some notes here. So once you identify what that mission is for you, and what that goal is for you, then it's important to identify why that goal is important. But being very specific and having a deadline attached to that as well. Because without that goal, it's hard to build a schedule around that, because again, it's just like the workout routine. It just goes to the wayside if you don't have a purpose to it, a purpose behind it, and then a specific schedule. So the second most important thing after you have that mission is to recruit those quality, be in control of bringing on some game changer personalities into your business. It's to build a schedule that works, so you can source these people, so you can start to make those connections, in a schedule that works in your life and your business. So my schedule in Q1, again, I'll share with you my experience, and it definitely won't be your experience, but maybe it can give some of you a starting point, or maybe there's something in the next 45 minutes that you're already doing. You're probably doing it better than me, and maybe there's something that you can tweak or adjust through my failures that I've had or whatever it is. So hopefully there's some value that comes out of it, regardless if this is a brand new concept for you, or if you're, I know there's some seasoned veterans that far out recruit, out lead, out develop people, more people than I do. But, so I spent in all of Q1, I spent 4 mornings a week, sometimes afternoons a week. It's typically Monday through Thursday for 60 to 90 minutes. Doing this, and the majority of my time was spent on LinkedIn and social media and going through my personal network, communicating with people, right? And I'll get into some of the details as far as the LinkedIn piece here in a few minutes. So the other thing is, there's a good chance that your next regional director, you already know that person. I mean, as simple as I started going through my cell phone, and I would still connect to the people on my cell phone contact list on LinkedIn, because it's just a professional way to connect to them, right? And the reason why I connected to them on LinkedIn was that gave them the ability, before they accepted my connection or responded to my message, they could jump on my profile and kind of read up on what I'm doing, right? And see a picture of me, a recent professional picture of me, see the company and how long I've been with the company, and kind of review my resume, if you will, without having to go to a website and watch a bunch of videos, because no one has time to do all that on their own, right? Especially if they're not looking for a job. So, so there's an abundance of resources that you all have access to, but it's a good possibility your next regional director is somebody you already know, or somebody you're already connected to. I think that's a really big point to consider. By the way, I did hire 3 people before mid-year last year. I accomplished my mission. My blackboard, if you will, my cork board was filled with about 25 pictures, profiles. I actually physically pinned them up there. It's almost like I was going an investigator on a crime scene. I've got years of research trying to track down the criminal, and I had, except for in a very positive light. And I would actually move people closer to that POP, that really big star that said POP. And I ended up hiring 3 people. I actually created a Boxer thread for those 3 individuals. 2 of those individuals are no longer with me, and one of those individuals is the top 1 or 2 market directors in the entire company, and that's Corey Williams. But it took me about 5 to 6 months to not just identify, but start the conversation, but bring those people on, hire them, field train them, which I personally work with each of them. And I still work very close hand in hand daily with Corey to help him grow his business and support him. But these are 3. So I hit that goal, and from a number standpoint, it worked out, and we have a new regional director that I personally brought on, unattached to anybody else, acquired, trained, developed, and he is phenomenal and doing his thing. And he's doing the same thing that I did a year ago, and has a similar type of mission as well. So you want to create that strong schedule. Another really important point is consistency is the name of the game. We hear that in sales. We hear that in everything important in our life. It's just about consistent effort, scheduled, consistent effort that's intentional daily. And that's the exact same thing here. If you just kind of, when you happen to pick up your laptop and click on LinkedIn, and that's when you're going to start really communicating with people, and that's just a happenstance type of thing in the day, like, oh, I got an hour to kill, I'll do it now. You're not going to get the result that you desire. I guarantee it. But if you schedule in 60 to 90 minutes a day, or whatever your block of time is, dedicated to this mission. And by the way, if you're in a position in this business where it could be a game changer to bring on and develop from the ground up a new market and a new regional director, or some mix of both, or whatever it is. Or if you're an agency owner on the call, and if you could split off and bless somebody's life to let them run their own agency, and you could find that person, and in a couple of years, you had a new spinoff agency that was able to contribute to their family and to our company and our growth of positive growing agency owners. If you're in that boat, I mean, this is something that is a high priority, right? So as you're prioritizing your most important activities going into the new year, for me, in Q1 of last year, this was the highest priority. So it always started first in the day. My first 60 to 90 minutes every single day, Monday through Thursday, for almost the entirety of Q1, to reiterate, was doing what I'm talking about, right? On my mission to bring on and acquire that next top superstar in my business. So the next kind of big bullet point, the primary platform that I've used in this 60 to 90 minutes a day to accomplish this mission was LinkedIn and social. So social, really LinkedIn and Facebook. And the Facebook I just use because I've got a database of 12 or 13 or 1,500 friends. And two of the guys that I acquired that I thought could be a regional director someday, it didn't end up panning out for them, which is okay. But two of those guys I thought possessed the skill sets and characteristics that I brought on that had a great couple months, 6 months, 9 months with me, came from one from my cell phone, one from Facebook, and then Corey Williams from LinkedIn. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about LinkedIn today because you may not have a big network. You may not have a well-developed Facebook friend list, whatever it is. You may have been in the business for 15 years and literally tapped out everybody that you know, which you haven't, but you may think that, right? That might be a barrier for you. Or you haven't. Regardless, everybody can spend an hour to 2 hours on LinkedIn a few days a week or multiple days a week or every day of the week and never run out of contacts and people to partner with, right? It is a truly abundant resource that never runs out. The reason why job databases, so by the way, hiring, most of the people we hire, right, they go through our hiring process, comes from, they are job seekers. Not all of them, but the majority of them. Here's another big difference between really recruiting people and hiring people. If you are limiting your business to attracting people that are looking for a job change, you are limiting your business, okay? And what I mean by that is when you're truly recruiting somebody, that means you are potentially offering them and helping them to see some light of what a better career, a better business, a better future ownership franchise opportunity could be for them compared to what they're currently doing right now. There's a huge difference. I have my resume posted on Indeed or Career Builder. Bob Jones gives me a call, schedules me for an interview. I'm looking for a job. I interview at 20 insurance companies. I choose Family Heritage. The mindset of that person compared to the mindset of, I work for New York Life. I make $400,000 a year. I am happy and my family is set, but I've always had that inclination there might be something else out there. It's just no one's ever approached me about that something else. Well, here comes George Zimney approaching me about that something else. You see the difference? So if you can do both and add this something else piece and start recruiting people into a better opportunity, if it's a fit for them and they're a fit for you, you can watch your business take off. And then you can start to model that with the people that you work with. If I didn't do this last year, I'm not talking on this meeting. I'm not influencing you. I'm definitely not influencing the people I directly work with to do this beyond just a hiring process. And we're all going to be a little bit stagnant in how far we could go and what our true potential is, I believe. So enough about generalities. Let me get into the LinkedIn stuff because this is kind of fun. So this is kind of the 60 to 90 minutes a day. And this is going to be my exactly what my activity is going to be, and actually has been, just more consistent. And I'm putting a lot more fuel on the fire of this activity coming into the new year again, because I need to find that person, those 3 people that can be my next RD, and then knowing that one of them is actually going to have the follow through to make it happen. So LinkedIn tips. Here's some practical tips. The first thing you've got to do is create a compelling profile with a professional picture. So I'll show you my profile here. Let me share my screen, everybody. So hopefully you can see my screen. So create a professional profile. And mine, every month to 2 months, you kind of need to update it. It needs to be fresh. You don't want to go crazy like Facebook, but it just needs to be relevant, right? You don't want to have something that has the old Family Heritage logo, because you're totally missing the point of what the Globe Life branding can do for your business. But I have a professional picture. I'm smiling. It's not a picture from the past where I had hair, so it's recent-ish. It's president of the Zeal Agencies, nationwide network of agencies, Globe Life Family Heritage. Your message, whenever you create your message, the about part, in my experience, it's been far more effective to do something that's heartfelt, that's personal, versus something that's really technically perfect, corporately, like almost like you don't want to create a message like somebody else wrote the message, right? Or big fancy words, unless that's who you are. What I think you should do is create a professional message that shares your story and what your mission is. So check this out. And I haven't looked at this for quite a while. President of Zeal Agencies, we're one of the elite agencies within the Family Heritage Division. I have a vision of growing from 4 million annual revenue in 2019 to 10 million by 2025, which positions us, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just talking about something I'm really passionate about, what our vision is, where we're going, and that I'm open to exploring with people. There's a huge income potential here. So this is something that whenever I connect to somebody, it's one of the first things people do whenever you connect to them on LinkedIn is before they accept that connection, they want to know, well, who is this person? Are they going to try to recruit me? What are they about? Are they genuine? Do they have any traction? Do we have any common connections? Where have they worked? What industry are they in? I don't want to waste my time if there's nothing that, no reason for us to connect. So go through your profile, take 2 hours, 4 hours, half a Saturday, and just go through it and make it attractive. Don't do it right now. Do this in a time where you're having a cup of coffee or your freshest time of the day, and you feel very creative and open, and it's going to be heartfelt, right? So create that message when you feel really good. Schedule that time to really make sure you have an attractive profile. Okay, so that's point number 1 on LinkedIn. Point number 2, if you have the means and you're really going to take this seriously, purchase the premium package. The premium package gives you the ability to do a couple of things. And you can see over here, kind of looks like that. It says premium. How you do that, you just have to figure it out. I'm not going to go through the how-to of buying a premium package. Oh, there we go. So the premium package is like about $50 a month, but it gives you the opportunity to direct message people that have not accepted your LinkedIn invitation. So you can actually send a message to, I forget the number, 30 or 50 messages per month, to people that you want to try to start recruiting a conversation with. right? So there's, I mean, basically multiple, opens the door to multiple points of contact with people that may not check their profile enough, or may not see, accept your invitation to connect to them. And you can't message them traditionally if you don't buy this upgrade unless they accept that invitation, right? The second thing it does, it gives you the ability to connect to more people, right? So the next thing that we're going to talk about is you have to build a network of people, right? I have a network of several thousand, I think we're close to 2,000 or something like that, people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn, and that grows almost on a daily basis. So here's kind of the step-by-step. So you want to search people. So if I click on the search bar, click.
So guys, I think that's a perfect place to pause right there. We're about 30 minutes through it. It's 1 hour total, and he's just getting ready to start the meat of the how-to. So I'll talk to Kyle about possibly picking this up and finishing it tomorrow. But yeah, I hope everybody gets a couple of good takeaways from that today. Just in what George was saying with his mindset is that, guys, my next regional director is probably somebody I know. Well, guys, if you're on the newer side, maybe you're thinking to yourself, my next regional director, my gosh, I'm not even market director yet. It doesn't matter, guys. Along the way, if you're going to be in this business for the long haul, you're going to develop into that, and you're going to pay it forward and develop other people. So it's just a matter of, do you want them on your roster later, or do you want them to go ahead and start building their business and their dream, now? And because you have all the support in the world with that. But the last thing you've said in there that really stuck with me from that is consistency is the name of the game. Guys, if it's not something that we just kind of do whenever we think about it or when it comes up, but it's something that we schedule in, and it's got to be done daily. Obviously, our happenstance recruiting, when we're walking in and meeting somebody for the first time, yeah, that needs to continue happening. And there just needs to be, for a lot of us, we can take hold of this, and this is something we can do outside of IPA time, or as George, it wouldn't surprise me a bit if he does it from 6:30 to 7:30 each morning after he's worked out. So that's kind of his style. But let's reconvene tomorrow, 8 a.m. guys, and we'll go from there. But guys, let's seriously, all you guys out there, give if you're a leader, call your folks, and let's make sure that we get the attendance here up closer to about 35 to 40, probably where it should be. Obviously, some folks are out doing enrollments and whatnot early, but yeah, if we can do it. Let's make sure that we're on here, because we're gonna, yeah, we'll be reaching out. So thanks for being on, guys. Have a great rocking day, and here's to another huge hump day. Bye.